where's my phone? Have you ever lost something and you just wish that you could just make it appear out of nowhere? Oh, just like that, yeah, like magic. Today I'm going to be reviewing the premiere that happened last week on the SYFY channel for the new show, The Magicians. It was a 2-episode premiere, and I'm going to be talking about the different characters, how the actors did, and ultimately where I think the show The Magicians is going to go. So without further ado, this is TV Show's review on The Magicians' double-episode premiere. Now, let me first start with the premise of what The Magicians is about. We have a misunderstood kid that doesn't feel like he fits in anywhere, and all of a sudden he gets invited to this pristine school that also teaches magic. And then he fits in with everybody, gets some friends, and learns he has all of these abilities that he never realized he had, and that he is some chosen one that will fight a villain that is trying to threaten our world. I don't think that sounds like anything else that I've ever heard of before. Also, there is another world that is parallel to ours, and they give way that there's multiple ones, but there's one that they are focusing on specifically, and people can get there by walking through clocks and other things like that. And once again, I've never heard of anything like that before in my entire life. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about the show. Well, we have the show, and it's centered around kind of two characters. We have he's basically the main character of the show. His name is Quentin Clearwater. I don't know if you could get much more of a wizard-like name than that. I guess he just lucked out when his parents were naming him. Doesn't fit in with really any crowd. He's pretty much a loner, and he questions why he should live a lot. So, it's just really getting to him. He is played by Jason Ralph, who we can recognize from Gossip Girl, Blue Bloods, and The Good Wife. He has a best friend, and her name is Julia. She is played by Stella Meave, who we can also recognize from Chicago PD, Law & Order, and Rizzoli and Isles. Now, we realize that both of them have been best friends since they were little kids, and that there is some sort of obsession here with this book about a far-off land called Fillory. We don't really know its significance to the storyline until a little bit later in the episodes. But we know that they've bonded as kids, and Quentin is still obsessed with it, whereas Julia is not, and she's growing up. By the way, they are college-age students. So, and he's still obsessing about a children's book, so I mean, I would be a little questioning if my friend was still obsessed with a children's book, so I don't blame her. Both end up magically appearing at this college that they claim is in upstate New York that they just could never find or heard of before. It's called Break Bills. They go in, they take a test to see if they are magically gifted enough to go to this school. So basically, this is the defining point in the show, because one of them makes it, one of them doesn't. And they kind of split at that point. Now, the one that can't make it wants to get back into the school but can't, so they find other alternative means to express their love for magic, learning that it's now real. And the one that does stay, they end up meeting some other people that are crucial to the plot. They meet these two other people that are sort of like their welcome committee, I'm going to say, and that would be Elliot and Margot. Elliot is played by Hale Appleman. You can recognize from the show Smash and The Walker. Margot is played by Summer Bissell, who we can recognize from Law & Order, iZombie. Now, these guys are kind of the upbeat, sort of comic relief of the show. Now, we also meet two other characters. This show has a lot of characters that it's going to involve with the plot and the story. These two other people, one of them being the one that made its roommate, is Penny. Yes, it's a dude. He is played by Arjun Gupta, who we can recognize from How to Get Away with Murder. He played Can. The girl who is also romantically, sexually, we're not really sure, but she's involved with him somehow. Penny talking about, her name is Katie. She's played by Jade Taylor, who we can recognize from Murder in the First and Vegas. Now we still have one more character. Like I said, a lot of characters that is extremely pivotal to the story. This is the character of Alice. Alice is supposedly like the genius of the school, but she's also a loner and nobody really talks to her. And the main character, of course, befriends her, and then we find out that she has some other reasons for being at the school than just for learning. And she's played by Taylor Dudley, who we can recognize from the Chernobyl Diaries and the new Paranormal Activity movie, The Ghost Dimension. Now, I know that's a lot of characters to take in, and when you do that in a show, sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing, because you don't want too many characters, because then that almost kind of disassociates you with all of the characters, so you don't form a bond with them. So let's say that something happens to one of them or they die, you don't really feel that as a viewer because there's so many you have to keep up with. This one I think it's about right on the line with too many characters, but the way that they introduce the characters it works, because you have Quentin and you have Julia, who are obviously the main focus of the show. Then you kind of have like what I'm going to say is a secondary focus, which I'm going to say is Alice, and Penny and Katie sort of get into that, but they almost fall into the third category when you have Elliot and Margot, who they're involved, but they're not so involved that you're going to see them every time that something happens. So that's really good. Also, like I mentioned before at the beginning, obviously some of the elements and some of the storyline we have seen before in other movies and other shows. And we have to remember that nowadays it is extremely hard to come up with a completely original idea that's never been done before. People still do it, but it's really hard because just about everything we can think of has already been done. But what you can do is you can take certain attributes and certain things from other ideas, mold them in with yours, and create what seems like an original idea. So you're like tweaking something that's already been done, adding to the entertainment value, which I think the magicians are doing. Now, in my personal opinion, this is not a show that was like so awesome that it just had my jaw dropping the entire time. However, I do enjoy watching the show, and I am going to continue watching this show because it does have some awesome things to it. Some interesting characters, the actors do a good job, and you have some mystery elements about it. You have these other worlds and you have these other creatures that are somehow coming into our world, and a lot of them have not been hit on. One of them has, and he was in the premiere that you can watch, and that's something else that I thought it really did very well, because there is an approach when you go to a show, especially when you do it in a show, it's really, I'm going to say it's a hit or miss sometimes. A lot of them do it in movies because you're sitting there for the entire duration of the movie. You're not coming back next week to see the next installment. What they do is they throw you right into the middle of the storyline. So the storyline's already been progressing and you've just been thrown into the middle of it. You're not watching it progress. So when you're in the middle, you are learning what is going on along with the character. So you don't really know what's going to happen next, just like the character does. So that gives you another entertainment value because you can't predict what's going to happen. Or maybe you can, but you can't predict as much as you would be able to if you've seen the entire storyline up until now. So you're learning everything with the main characters, and you're meeting new characters, and you're learning things about them and making inferences about them like the main character would. So I think that what they're doing with that aspect is really good, because I had a lot of questions when I was watching it, but if you keep watching and you keep watching it, they do answer some of the questions, but they also leave some unanswered, so you come back and watch more. So in my personal opinion, I do like the magicians, and I think they are doing something very different. They are tweaking some ideas that we've had before, but if you love fantasy and you love magic and you love the coming together of good versus evil with all those other elements, then I would definitely recommend it to you. I like it. I'm going to continue watching it. And after season 1 is done, of course, I'm going to do a review of the entire season. Share some of your thoughts in the comments below. If you watched the premiere like I did, then tell me what you thought. See if The Magicians is going on a good path, or if it's going on a bad path, or what you think is good, bad, or if you would change something, what would it be? I'm Justin Sisk, and this has been a TV show review of the double episode premiere of The Magicians. Hey everybody, if you liked what you saw today, please go down and hit that big red subscribe button. That helps me out a lot. Because you can go down there, it gets out there to more people when you subscribe, like, share, does the same thing. And that's all we ever want on YouTube, is just to get the word out there. That's why we do what we do. So like I said before in the video, if you liked what you saw, then go down there, let me know what you thought. If you liked the review, or you think I know what I'm talking about with these reviews, then let me know. If you didn't like the premiere, or you didn't like the show itself, also let me know. Because a lot of good shows nowadays go unnoticed, especially if they're on a lesser watched channel, which the SYFY is more than other things like TNT, TBS, USA, and things like that. So videos like this and promotions and stuff really get those shows noticed. So go down there, hit like, hit share, and everything else. Also, subscribe for more videos, more reviews, more episodes of my other shows like The History You Thought You Knew and Society's Intervention. And always find me on Facebook, like me on Instagram, and all the other stuff that everybody belongs to. And I'll see you guys next time with another review.